What kind of ridiculous false reality are we living in where people even like entertain the notion that this is competent leadership in display? Why are we giving Trump credit for this deal? Who do you think facilitated the deal? You think it was Biden? I can't believe we already have liberals in the chat running defense for Joseph Robinette Brandon here. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, there's going to be a lot of back and forth today. Trump hasn't done squat. Yeah, okay, sure. I thought you negotiated a ceasefire? Yeah, like my input on the negotiations of the ceasefire is the same as Anthony Blinken's. Okay? I'm seeing that a lot of people are basically choosing to give credit to the Biden admin here, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But it's great. I'm glad that we have insanity that is alive and well. Okay? I'm glad that insanity is alive and well in this community. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. That's more insane than I thought this community would ever get. I'm not gonna lie, but it's cool. Fuck it, we ball. Okay. We'll start off with Al Jazeera. There are already celebrations taking place on the streets.
Hours turned this whole area into a stage of celebration, something that we're not used to see as early hour of this morning. And what we see in the past days, this area here at the hospital used to be a stage for funerals for bodies that are killed and brought to the hospital. Much of it filled with agony and sadness, but the past couple hours have been particularly different, more of an expression of much of the feelings that have been suppressed for the past 15 months. And without going into the details of the terms, people came together and got in groups here celebrating, whether in the hospital or in the streets on 10 sites across the Gaza Strip and further in the northern part of the Strip in Al-Mawasi.
Damn, my guy would have given Reagan credit for releasing the Iranian hostages. I think the thing that you don't understand in that process is that even if there was incompetence, you're talking about a foreign adversary, not stopping a foreign ally. Joe Biden had the opportunity to do this with one phone call. I talked about this virtually every single day for 15 months. That Joe Biden can stop this today, he can stop it tomorrow, he can stop it yesterday. He chose not to do so. Do you understand? He chose not to do so. Israel was the party that was responsible for refusing to recognize the conditions set forth by Hamas early on, the conditions that Joe Biden represented as the conditions that Israel had placed on the ceasefire negotiations on July 2nd. And the deal that is in place right now is virtually identical to those deals. There have been more than 30 different instances where Hamas tried to facilitate a ceasefire. Israel refused it every step of the way. Joe Biden made it seem as though Israel was not the actual responsible party for refusing to deal with a ceasefire, and it was actually Hamas that was ruining it. And that's what's crazy about the situation, because Joe Biden had virtually every moment, every opportunity, all the power, all the cards to stop this by forcing Israel to meet his demands. And for a lot of liberals, I think this is impossible to contend with. Giving Donald Trump the opportunity to take credit for this ceasefire is entirely in the hands of Joe Biden. If you think that additional pressure from Trump and the whole like cut it out narrative that Trump applied in this situation, or maybe even a secret side deal that he cut with Benjamin Netanyahu, which will inevitably lead to possibly infinitely more bloodshed down the line, which I do believe he did. But if you think that Donald Trump was not the mover and shaker in this circumstance, and it was Biden, and he just like simply couldn't facilitate this for 15 whole months and was able to do so in the last second, you're out of your mind. Here it is. A diplomat briefed on the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas credited progress in the talks in part to the influence of President-elect Donald Trump, saying it was the first time there has been real pressure on the Israeli side to accept a deal. Who was ruining the deal? Who was refusing to abide by the deal? Was it Hamas? Was there more pressure necessary on Hamas? Was that the case, chatters? Did you learn nothing from my coverage for the past 15 months on this? Is that You didn't hear anything? You just went la 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 la, can't hear you? No, Biden kept lying over and over again. Anthony Blinken kept lying over and over again throughout the entire process. There are numerous instances where I continuously showed you over and over again that Anthony Blinken would go on tour and openly state that it was actually Hamas that was the spoiler of the deal. It was actually not Israel that was the spoiler of the deal. It was a Hamas. When we could see with our own two eyes who was actually spoiling the deal. So one must ask the question, why was Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden actively defending the Israeli side of the conversation? And why is everyone saying Trump pressured Netanyahu? Come on, man. Y'all are out of your goddamn minds if you think the Biden administration finally packed this up. 2 weeks ago, Biden gave $8 billion of arms to Israel. 2 weeks ago, January 3rd, working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire. I guess you genuinely believe that when they were saying it. The grossest side of this process is that Biden had all of the power. He is the president of the United States of America. He could have done this. He could have done this day one. He could have done this early October 2023. He could have done it in November. Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden actively sabotaged the peace talks, the ceasefire talks, and defended the Israeli side by lying to the public. Blinken apparently tanks ceasefire negotiations by fabricating a story to make Netanyahu look good. One of the many lies the Biden-Harris admin told to shield Israel from criticism. This is from the Times of Israel reporting from a couple months back. He pointed to a meeting Blinken held with Netanyahu in August, after which the secretary announced that the Israeli premier had accepted a U.S. bridging proposal for a hostage deal. The Arab official, along with a member of Israel's negotiation team, told the Times of Israel that this was empathetically not what had unfolded in the meeting, and that Blinken's comments had thrown a major wrench in that round of talks, which ultimately fell apart. Credit where credit is due, okay? The Teflon Don. He did it with a goddamn real estate developer he golfs with, too. That is how much power America has over Israel and not vice versa. It's all a matter of who holds the cards. It's all a matter of actually pulling the levers of power if necessary, whether it is because you have a grander ambition for the region, a larger design for the region down the line because you got $100 million from Miriam Adelson. So shut up. What is this argument? There is no defense for the Democratic Party on this day. There is no defense. It's just untrue. You want something. You can be critical of Donald Trump. You can shit on Donald Trump, and I certainly will for the rest of this day. Okay? But in this very moment, if you are reaching so far and wide that you make it seem as though Joe Biden had anything to do with this, aside from routinely allowing Israel to just do whatever it wanted over and over and over and over again, you're out of your mind. Yeah, remember the ceasefire button was a youthful TikTok fantasy. Here's Matthew Iglesias. I'm out of touch with the youth, but my sense is that there are now millions of pseudo-informed people gassed up on TikToks and Instagram Reels who believe there's some kind of permanent ceasefire button in the Oval Office that Biden is perversely refusing to press. What happened? Did Trump find the button? Was it next to the Diet Coke button? What happened? How do we hit the button? It seems like there was a button. Everyone kept saying, Hasan, you are so childish. You are so childish for making it seem as though this is just a simple phone call away. A ceasefire is a simple phone call to Israel, okay? Not to Hamas. No applying pressure to Hamas. Like they're literally Israel is genociding the Gaza Strip. What more pressure can you do than genociding an entire area where 2 million people once lived? That's it. You've maxed out on the pressure. By the way, make no mistake. If Donald Trump also, just take photos is correct. If Trump is also able to overturn the TikTok ban too, oh my God, dude. It's an endless faucet of pro-Trump sentiment coming from Trump is going to give the Republican Party the Reagan advantage for generations to come. Okay. And there is no liberal counter. There is no institutional counter to any of this stuff. He's just taking advantage of the ginormous failures, the patently and roundly panned awful decision making of the Democratic Party to make himself look good. The button was Bibi's candidate of choice for winning. You're out of your mind, dude. Benjamin Netanyahu has no say in this process. Okay, all they can do is try and undermine American interests in the region. But at the end of the day, if America's like, oh yeah, you're going to continue killing people even though I want you to do this ceasefire. Okay, how about no more weapons? What's going to happen when they don't get Tamir interceptors, dude? What do you think would happen if American cruisers and aircraft carriers in the region go, okay, we're turning around then? What do you think happens to Israel then? What do you think happens to Israel without the 2,000-pound bombs that we were consistently sending to Israel as they kept literally running out of ammunition because they dropped multiple nukes worth of munitions on Gaza? What do you think would happen to Israel if America was like, all right, we're not protecting you anymore then? Are you out of your mind? What is the Iron Dome without Tamir interceptors? It's nothing. There is no world where Israel gets to do what it's doing without, and every step of the way, America saying, yeah, we love this. Keep going. We love it a lot, actually. Okay? We love it so much. Yeah, the Iron Dome without interceptors is an umbrella. It's not even an umbrella. It doesn't stop anything. The reality is the reason why nothing has happened for the whole time Biden was in power is because he's completely disabled. My friends, the intern in DC and young people that talk. No, I mean, Biden's ineptitude aside, like, they wanted this. The Democrats, as a administration, wanted this to continue. The narrative for Hawks is now Trump is just better at applying pressure. I mean, is it wrong? Is that the wrong narrative? No, the real narrative is there's a button that must have been pressed somewhere along the line, and Trump was like, yeah, it's done. Okay, I'll give you whatever you want later down the line, but just cut this out right now. That's what I think. In this brief moment, there is a moment of solace here. And there will most likely be a tremendous amount of pain that comes later down the line. But ultimately, is it false? Is it false that Donald Trump, even when he wasn't president, was able to literally facilitate by applying pressure to Israel? You got so much information coming out of the Biden White House where they actively told Israel, yeah, go blow shit up in Lebanon. It's great. We love it. Keep going. And even if you don't have insider information, you have outsider eyes to look at the situation. Every day, there's another report of Biden being like, oh, I'm so angry with Benjamin Netanyahu. Here's another $8 billion of weapons, sir. Great, though. It seems like the same media apparatus that actively defended Israel's genocidal ambitions is now trying to reframe the narrative in an effort to give Biden credit 5 days before he leaves office, when he very clearly, openly and openly kept lying at the behest of Israel over and over and over again. And it's great. It's great. You want to know why? Because people already don't trust mainstream media. Now they're going to go, what the fuck are you talking about? We have eyes. We have ears. We have a brain. I can see what Biden did for the past 15 months. Do you think Trump gets credit? I mean, Trump is going to get credit regardless. He's going to get credit from, obviously, every single outlet on the right. That's number one. And this is a credit-worthy moment. I think that for many people that have noticed what is going on, many people that are aware of what's happening, people are going to continue despise Biden for coming out and saying like, no, we did this. We finally did this, Jack. Ridiculous.
Will hold.
I'm confident. Thank you.
Brooks, credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
You're talking to people that did not give a shred of a damn about the genocide. They spent this year telling anyone who's pro-Palestine to shut the fuck up, never looked into it. So they think they can just make stuff up as an argument for Biden's legacy. Fuck Biden's legacy. His legacy is one of genocide. Does this mean the no new wars narrative is real? No, it's not. I mean, you guys understand, like, every single thing that has unfolded so far is exactly what I told you is going to happen, right? Like, this is not unexpected unless you weren't listening to what I was saying this entire time. I warned the Democratic Party when the election was happening that Donald Trump is going to cut a side deal with Benjamin Netanyahu. You have the power to end this now. Use it. They didn't do it. I called this for months. I said this was going to happen. This exact same thing that is happening, I said is going to happen, and it's happening to a T. Down to the wire. It is a 1-to-1 almost comparison of exactly what I said was going to happen. How is this shocking to anyone in this community? You guys just like plug your ears and close your eyes when I'm doing commentary on this? I've been saying this is going to happen for months. And now that it has, people still turn around and go, oh, I don't know about that. Now, it's not fully done anyway. Netanyahu says the Hamas folded on the dispute over the Philadelphia corridor, but as the several items in the framework have yet to be finalized, we hope the details will be finalized tonight. Liberals in the chat trying to say this guy was actually the principal negotiator.
More than 15 months of conflict that began with Hezbollah's brutal massacre on October the 7th.
I'm just going to run that again, just so, because you didn't.
More than 15 months of conflict that began with Hezbollah's brutal massacre on October the 7th.
Hezbollah on October the 7th did a brutal massacre? You think that guy did the ceasefire? That guy. He just remembered he had the power 5 days before he's out? What kind of ridiculous false reality are we living in where people even like entertain the notion that this is competent leadership in display? Of course, liberals are going to lose permanently and forever. You are making the most reactionary, stupid, mouth-breathing losers look sane when you try to literally justify anything that you're seeing here. Anything. Like, it's psychotic. It's QAnon. This is QAnon, okay? There is no difference functionally between trying to say Biden is a competent leader and he really tried really, really hard to facilitate a ceasefire, even though all evidence points to the direct contrary, okay? And he finally did it 5 days before his administration ended. The foreign policy genius, like, to me, running with that narrative is unironically no different than QAnon, being a QAnon supporter, thinking that there is like, he also said he spoke to the Emir of Kuwait to thank him for the ceasefire deal when he was, oh God, it was the Emir of Qatar. He doesn't have a PhD in foreign policy, chat. He's just that good. This is Twitch liberals right now. Most vindicated image in political history. Okay, smart guy, let's see you take a crack at it. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it turns out someone else did take a crack at it, dude.